people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for yet another Tottenham update. We've got some injury news and potential transfer news about this summer as well. But before we get into that, go check out our website, WeAreTottenhamTV.com, for your latest written content. And also we're on audio platforms such as Spotify, so go check us out on there. But look, let's talk about the injury news first and foremost, as Paul O'Keefe has brought us that Pedro Porro and Richarlison are back in training ahead of the North London derby this weekend, which is a massive plus.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying they want Richarlison to start this weekend. Maybe put Son back on the left, especially after Son's really poor performance against Newcastle last time out. So there's a lot of clamour for that. I, for one, would stick Son up front for this one, just because I know in these big games, this is where he comes alive, and he has a really good record against the top three. I think he scored against all the top three this season, hasn't he, in the striking position. So I think we need him there. Richarlison could be a really good option on the off the bench. I think part of me would consider Richarlison just for his physicality and as well his shithousery as well. Could he rile a few feathers in the Arsenal backline? I think that's something to consider, but it's really great to have him back. In terms of Porro, obviously that's really, really vital. With the doggy out, we lose that ability, that fullback on the left-hand side to really progress the ball up the pitch. And obviously if we lost Porro as well, that would have been a massive blow, and I think we would have really struggled in our build-up. With Porro, hopefully he's fit, and that could be a major boost.
Yeah, I mean, Porro's the big one for me. When you're looking at with Destiny out, and if we were going to go into this game without Porro, without Destiny, you're thinking, how the hell are we even going to get anything out of this game? But with Porro there, and potentially whoever goes at left back, it's looking like Ben Davies at this current moment in time. It does give me a little bit of hope. But the Richarlison one, I mean, I guess Richarlison probably would know how to get in, under Gabriel's skin, being Brazilian teammates and everything like that. He'll probably know a fair bit about him, but vice versa, Gabriel will probably know how to get under Richarlison's skin a little bit as well. So it probably would cause a bit of a battle. But I think whether he starts or not, it provides options off the bench for us, and it gives us different avenues where we can change the game as it goes on. Yeah,
it gives us a plan B, because you saw against Newcastle, like when Son wasn't working, our next plan was to put Johnson up front, and that was never really going to work, because Johnson offers very similar to what Son's going to offer in that kind of position. Also, Richarlison, obviously a bit more physical threat, so that's really positive. But as I say, I think I would start Son still in the number 9 in this one, but it's interesting to see what Ange is going to go with on Sunday.
Yeah, I think he will go with Son down the middle, to be fair, and that's the way I would play it as well. You know where when teams come, especially to Tottenham, and play a high line, you want to see Son being that man, that central man, being able to get behind the lines and really attack them time and time again. So for me, Son down the middle again. Let's talk about the summer, though, as a journalist called Joseph Brown claims that Daniel Levy will give Ange Postecoglou a transfer budget of 100 to 150 million plus sales this summer, and Tottenham believe they can bring in an extra 50 to 75 million from outgoing transfer fees as well.
Who?
Don't worry about it.
All right. It doesn't matter who's reporting it. If he says he's going to get 200 million, we're getting 200 million. I mean, look, I don't know if that's true or not. I like to think it is true. We definitely have the funds to do that. We have the FFP wriggle room to do that. Obviously, in terms of financials, I think we made big revenues, but we did end up making a loss. But we should have enough wiggle room with the money we've been making to spend big if we wanted to. So technically, with sales as well, I mean, obviously, depending who's up for sale, like Højbjerg, maybe get 20 million, Spence maybe 10. So maybe, you add a few of these up, Tanganga maybe 5, 10, Parrott maybe 5, 10. So you add all those up, maybe they could get to like 60, 70 million.
Skip, potentially. There are quite a lot of players that you can, small little amounts, which could amount to quite a significant fee.
Yeah. Do I see us spending 300 million, though? I mean, I find it hard to believe. I'd be delighted if we do, but...
How much did we spend last window? It was around the 200 million, wasn't it?
I think it was under 200, but it was a 40 on Van der Ven.
We did sell Kane for 100 as well.
Yeah, and also that made a big difference. In terms of net, it was well under 200, I think.
Yeah,
Maddison was 40, Van der Ven was 40, Vicario was 20. That's 100 million right there. Who else did we sign? Johnson was 50, so 150. Well, anyone else?
There was more
big
players
money
that came in as well, weren't there?
Well, Drag Machine's 30. That was in January.
Ashley Phillips, how much did he cost?
Phillips was what? 10
million or so. So I mean, we spent a fair whack, but obviously
I think it was about 170 million, wasn't it? Something like that.
No, that was because of Harry Kane going as well. So you're thinking about a net spend of around 70 million or whatever it was. The thing is, when you're looking at next season and Ange Postecoglou's talking about fighting for titles and everything like that, we need this kind of monstrous budget if we're going to even think about competing with the Man Cities, Arsenals and Liverpools.
100%. That is the reality. We can see there's a clear gap right now between us and the top three, and especially with Europe coming next season, whether it be Europa League or Champions League, we're going to need a bigger squad to cope with that. So definitely it's going to need heavy investment, because at the moment it seems as though we've got our first 11. And then we do have some players off the bench, but it's not enough. We need a much bigger squad, because there seems to be a bigger drop-off when we do have injuries and stuff, and we saw that. So for sure, there's going to need serious investment, and it would need that kind of budget to close the gap for sure over one summer. Look, we've never had a summer of over 200 million, I don't think. So find it hard to believe we will, but I'm willing to be surprised.
Look, like we moved in we moved to this stadium for a reason, and this is the reason that we moved there, to be able to compete with these kind of guys and spend this kind of money. So if we carry on just acting like the way we've always acted, and not go all out there and try get good players from around Europe and spend a significant amount, then what was the point of moving into this stadium?
No point.
Exactly. So we have to do it sooner rather than later. But let's finish off talking about an article from Calcio Mercato, and they say Tottenham and Genoa have talks planned to discuss multiple transfers this summer. Genoa have the option to sign Jed Spence permanently for €10 million, but the wing-back could be seen to be used as a bargaining chip in a bigger €35 million deal for Albert Gudmundsson. And
it's gone up 10 million, is it, in that price?
Yeah, we've spoken about Gudmundsson quite a lot over the last couple of weeks, and I think we've even mentioned, like, why not use Spence as a make weight for him, and it looks like that could be in the offing.
And it makes sense. If he's impressing at Genoa, we don't really want to keep him around, and if Gudmundsson is of serious interest, which is that interest does seem to be hotting up with Gudmundsson, a lot of people reporting it, then it makes sense to use Spence as a make weight and get our man in terms of Gudmundsson. But in terms of signing someone like Gudmundsson, for obviously €35 million, he's obviously having a great season. Is he of someone who's, we're seeing a bit of value in the market with? Is he someone who's definitely going to improve us? That's for everyone else to decide. I like him. I think he's a good player. But when we think of the club having ambition, I don't think Gudmundsson is the kind of name that comes to mind for fans.
Yeah, but you talk about ambition, but you also talk about the way that we need to have a whole squad, and when players come in from the bench, they can do a job. And the position that Gudmundsson is in, number 10/strike, he's a very versatile player. And if you have someone like him that can cover a few different positions and provide quality from the bench and actually make an impact, then I think these are the signings that are good signings. But you need to kind of caveat these signings with bigger signings as well. It can't just be him, we need other signings that complement him.
Agreed.
So that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding the news stories we brought to you today. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.